This NASCAR Indianapolis DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their Pick 8. Sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is loaded up with a ton of picks for the British Open. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Happy Friday to everybody out there. It is, of course, the final episode of the week for the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And right now, there are cars on the track for the practices, and we are going to be talking DFS. I don't know that any of the practice results are going to play heavily into what I'm going to do, Cody, but it's crazy to have cars on the track while we record a show.
Yeah, we don't usually get Friday practices, so there is that. But yeah, and I've honestly not paid too much attention. Wow, look at that. Brandon Jones, fastest so far. Talked about him on the betting episode. Hopefully you tuned in and got that. Yeah, I am definitely going to be curious to go back and watch this Xfinity Series practice and just kind of see what it looks like, see if we can learn anything. We kind of talked a little bit more, or we talked a little bit on the Xfinity show of like not really knowing what to expect. Kind of heard some different things throughout the week now from Bob and from like Letarte and some other people. And it sounds like this is exactly what they run at Atlanta, where it is the super speedway engine, but not the intermediate aero package. So it's going to be similar to that where it is the drafting style, but it's, you still have to let off the gas in the corner. So that's going to be the part that's different. So it's going to be pretty interesting. And I'm pretty excited for all three of these races, because I think they're all three going to be great. Three completely different things. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Indeed it will. And for DFS purposes today for this show, we understand that obviously with Friday, it's going to be difficult to get the Truck Series in. So we won't give you any official Truck Series plays. But if you listen to this early enough,
real quickly, if you do listen to this early enough, here you go. I got some plays for you on the fly. All right. Grant Enfinger, 9,300. I'm going to give them out right now early in the show, because if you're tuning in on Friday afternoon when this comes out before the race tonight, Grant Enfinger, 9,300. You're definitely going to have to play him, I think. Lane Riggs, 7,800. He's definitely worth looking at. And William Sawalich, 6,600. Then over on the underdog, Rod, I love Christian Eckes better than 4.0. Grant Enfinger better than 7.5. And Stuart Friesen better than 13.5. Bonus truck picks for you if if this pops up in your feed and you get to it right away before the Truck Series tonight. When there's trucks on Friday, we try to have this out early in the morning, but just schedules and whatnot craziness this week didn't work out for us to get it. So there's your bonus stuff just in case. Go place those quickly and then hit play again on the show.
I love that Stuart Friesen one. 13.5. Yes, yeah. Please. I've got him as a top 5 truck this week.
Exactly.
So he kills that one. All right, fine. You put me up to I'll toss this one in as well for underdog. I do love me some Ross Chastain. His finishing position set at 8.5. I'm going to take the better than on Ross Chastain. I actually spoiler alert, because you probably don't care at this point. I gave him out as an outright on the truck episode. So if that's the case, he'll finish better than 8.5. So give me Ross Chastain better than 8.5 for the truck series on Underdog. So there, you get another bonus one if you get this in time for sure. But listen, while you're kind of getting your stuff settled in, make sure to go check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. They're getting you ready for college football with their conference previews. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts or the SGPN app, and they're doing all of the conference previews. So talking about all the college football before we get going on there. So make sure you go check that out. The boys, Ryan and Sean, working hard for you over there. So show them a little love. Why don't you? Again, we are talking about just the Xfinity and the Cup Series outside of our fun short track divergent from the Truck Series. But yeah, they're both on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway oval this year. No more Indy Road Course. We're back on the oval like God intended it to be. And two completely different situations going on where the Xfinity Series guys are running, like Cody had talked about earlier, with that super speedway engine, not necessarily the same aero package. So, but if this is a lot like Atlanta, it's still going to race kind of super speedway-esque. We're going to see a little more 2 wide instead of 3 wide. But I'm sure there'll be people trying to peek themselves out to get themselves 3 wide. So we're going to keep an eye on that. And then of course, the Cup Series guys are just going to run this the way they always run it, with their packages and all that other good stuff. But again, we haven't run the oval here in several years. So if you haven't gone back to listen to the betting episodes, and this is sort of your first hint at Indy, we haven't run here since 2019 on the oval. It's been the road course ever since. Lots has changed, obviously, with the next gen and with all of the changes that have been made to cars and drivers over the course of the last few seasons. If you're looking at the top of the charts, and I'll bring them up later, there's names on the top of the charts of this track that are running like garbage lately. So how much can you kind of put faith in that? So yeah, Cody, lots of factors going into this weekend, but for sure, still some great plays that we can find in DFS and Underdog.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited. It's going to be a fun weekend, and enjoy this weekend, Rod, because we're going to have the next 2 weeks with no NASCAR racing at all. So that's going to be pretty freaking sad. So get in extra this week, have a lot of fun, and have yourself a good time.
Indeed. Yeah. Too bad the Olympic break kind of ruins it for us in that. But hey, there's still fun to be had during the Olympics. So I'm sure Cody's got some articles for the Olympics coming up. I'll try to sneak in a few articles for the Olympics coming up, but I always love to get in on that. I think handball still is a thing, so I may jump back in on that. I love me some Olympic handball.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be gone this next week, so not a ton of articles coming out for me then. But when I get back, potentially some. I told Adam, if you got some Olympic stuff, let me add it. So I'm sure I did have an article come out this morning, Friday morning, on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. NFL win totals. You know the Hall of Fame game is next week already, Rod. Next Thursday. NFL season is here. Go check out that article and get some of my favorite bets over there.
Love it. Yeah, my Scott Fishbowl draft is done, so now it's all about the matchups coming up. So, all right. Speaking of done, I think we're done for the banter part of this. I think it's time to get down to business, Cody. These people want their Friday to get going, so I think we should get it going. Let's take a look first at the Xfinity Series, where it is the Pennzoil 250. We are set for 62 laps around this 2.500 mile paved track for 155 miles even. Lap leading, it's going to be a thing. There'll probably be somebody that jumps out and leads 20 or 25 laps of this, but now with this era, with this super speedway thing going on, we don't know. So we're just going to pick drivers that we know are going to do well and go from there, right?
Yeah, and I think that this week will be super interesting for DFS because we really, truly don't know what to expect. And from everywhere that I've heard, everyone kind of has a different opinion. Some people are saying they don't think super speedway elements are going to play into this at all. You need to treat it like a regular race. Some people are saying, it's going to be complete chaos, super speedway stuff. I think it might be somewhere in the middle. So nobody really knows, which is great because it gives you the opportunity build for all of these different ways because, my main lineups are probably going to be built more like a super speedway, but you're going to want to have some lineups that are built like a regular race just because we don't know what we're going to get, which is going to make it extra fun in the Xfinity Series this week, Rod. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
Indeed. All right, Cody. Well, we're not giving out like the high, mid, and low price drivers. We're just going to give you drivers we like, because we're going to give you one each from Xfinity, and then 2 from the Cup. So because there's no truck episode and there's no standalone episode,
We already gave you your truck stuff. So if you skipped ahead, you shouldn't be doing that. Go back and listen.
All right, Cody, where are we getting started on the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Sieg, it's the obvious play, but you got to do it. $7,300 for Ryan Sieg is just absolutely ridiculous. Look, we've talked about him all season. Well, first of all, we've talked about him for how long we've been doing this show? 3 seasons. We've talked about him for 3 seasons when it comes to drafting tracks, and I've been talking about him for about 8 seasons when it comes to drafting tracks, because Ryan Sieg, very good on the drafting tracks. Also, this season, every time we've gone to an intermediate track, to a bigger race, we've seen he's had a Stewart Haas prepped car. They talked about it last week at Pocono. It was completely prepped by Stewart Haas. I think that could be the case again this week. He's been fast on the intermediate tracks anyways. So this is a play that can be good, whether it's an intermediate style race more or whether it's a drafting style of race, either way. So he's very consistent, gets you a lot of points each and every single week. 29.3 last week. And that was even started 7th, finished 12th. So went backwards a little bit, still 29 points. Good day. 33, 24.5, 43, 38, 21, 39, 51.5 at Charlotte. Intermediate track coming in there. 61.9 back at Texas when he finished second place by this much, right? This could be the week Ryan Sieg gets his first career win. What better place to do it than at Indianapolis? Kiss the bricks. Ryan Sieg, 7,300.
Yeah, and didn't you say when we were offline he didn't even make it to practice?
Yes. Noah. So because of all of the technical issues this morning, with the airlines having issues and everything, Sieg's flight got delayed. So Noah Gragson is actually practicing his car as we're speaking here because, he was not. So, but not concerned. That doesn't worry me at all. That doesn't change my opinion or anything. Qualifying is not till Saturday, so he should be fine to get there by Saturday. Everything should be good there. I'm not worried about that. And honestly, even if he doesn't get to qualify by, I'd be shocked if he can't make it there by tomorrow, right? I still would play him because if this is a drafting track and strategy and stuff, and people are going to get off of him because of that, great. Then you're going to be the only one playing him, and it's going to be a good play. So there's nothing that can make me leave Ryan's, unless he's not going to start the race for some reason, that's going to make me leave him out of this lineup, because whether he starts up front, whether he starts in the back, whether he makes qualifying, misses qualifying, I don't care. He's going to be good this weekend, and at the price, he's too good to pass up.
Sieg's about to jump on the first Apple flight that he can find for sure. So yeah, those Microsoft flights are not cutting the slack right now. But I can't argue with you on Sieg. We've seen it a million times before, so definitely a good play there. I'm going to go to Michael Waltrip's illegitimate son, and he's actually racing in the Xfinity race this week, as well as the truck race. And that's Daniel Dye. $7,200 for Daniel Dye. And you say to me, Rod, it's Daniel Dye. Rod, he's in Kaulig equipment. Yeah, he is. But look, he's actually averaging 32.9 fantasy points per race so far this season. He's been in 5 races so far. That's a lot of time to get into trouble for a guy who's racing that number 10 car, and he's going to do it again this weekend. And for Daniel Dye, the last 3 races have all been very, very positive for him. Actually, the last week at Pocono, he got you 29 points on a $6,600 salary. I mean, that's bordering on 5 times your price that you paid for him there. 61 points in Iowa, which was a fantastic day for him, a top 10 day for him. And mind you, he started in 37th place in that race to get all the way up there to 10th. And then in Dover, he actually got you 39 points. So for a guy that's about $7,200, if he's going to pull down about 30 to 35 points for you, which is close to his average, I love that. In fact, let him start farther back in the field, because then the place differential points are going to be huge for him here. And if the field is bunched up, and if the field is kind of a super speedway-esque type race, this guy can get it done in that type of situation. He's actually not that bad of a driver when you really stop and look at it's not somebody that you're putting on poster boards, even though that hair deserves to be all over poster
great
boards.
hair. It's great.
It's glorious. I only wish I had hair like that. But yeah, I mean, again, Daniel Dye is somebody that a lot of people are just going to skip over because they see the name. They think he's a truck series guy that doesn't make much of a noise up in the Xfinity Series. But truth of the matter is he's jockeying for these top 10s, top 20s, and out of a guy that's starting somewhere in the mid 20s, if he can get a top 10 for you, that's a hell of a good day. So yeah, Daniel Dye, a good GPP play. I'm pretty excited about him. And in fact, he's about 23rd right now in practice as we're going through this. So if that's where he lands in qualifying, I think you definitely take him because he has the potential to move up.
Yeah, and Xfinity practice is the one to not look too hard at. That's the one I wouldn't take too. You can take it into account for sure, as always, but take that into less account than trucks and cups this weekend for sure because of the unknowns of the super speedway. There's going to be drafting, whether it's complete pack racing like it is or whether it's just some drafting. A couple things to remember with Daniel Dye too. He's in a Kaulig car, so it's not like he's getting in a shit box and coming up and running. Kaulig at times could be a shit box, right? But for the price you're getting him at, it's a pretty good car in the Xfinity Series. And as much as we make fun of him and poke fun, like he's had a really good truck series and a good car or good truck, and then he's had these good runs in Xfinity too. And I think you just kind of overlook him because you're like, yeah, it's Daniel Dye, but maybe you shouldn't. And in the truck series, maybe you shouldn't be overlooking him too because he's been running well when he's in a fast truck over there. And generally, his price is a little bit cheaper because I don't think a lot of people think to click on him because you're so used to just seeing him in all the wrecks. But he's been doing a lot better this season. So definitely a good call out there by you.
Thank you. Fantastic camera operator as well. So we'll give him that credit. All right, we'll come back with our other picks for DFS. But first, I would like to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. We're going to give you all of our favorite Underdog Fantasy plays in just a second. But we want to tell you that Underdog Fantasy just launched a college football best ball product. First place wins $20,000. Plus, the higher lower pick'em 8 allows you an opportunity to win 325 times your entries. You can now use specials and boosts on all of your flex entries. I cannot wait to make our pick 8. We're going to give you 6 plays. So you can use all of those and a couple of your own to win some money. So don't miss out on your chance to try it out before it is all gone. Sign up now with our promo code RACESGPN. And look I'm going to break from the script for a second to tell you, please sign up with our promo code RACESGPN if you haven't already. We are nipping on the heels of a bonus for the company if we can hit the bounty. We are like minuscule signups away from being the first place show in the entire SGPN network. So please go support us and do that. Sign up with promo code RACESGPN. You're also going to get that special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code RACESGPN. Let's talk about Circa Sports. They're back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. And of course, Circa contests have no rake. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. You can sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. And then you can use a proxy to play from anywhere in the world. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. If you don't have a booked trip for Las Vegas before football, don't worry about it. Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out there, hang out with Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through August the 24th. All right, Cody.
Back to the underdog thing real quick, Rod. Underdog is like great for so many things. First of all, we're talking about it for all the NASCAR stuff, right? They've got F1. They've got all sorts of like NHRAs on there now. USAC is on there. We've talked about all the other sports, right? Basketball, football, baseball, all the big stuff, lacrosse. Like there's anything you want, and you can combine all the pick'ems. Plus, they've got all the NFL best ball stuff. There's all sorts of best balls this year. It's not just like the best, the big ones that they've had in the past, but there's ones where there's weekly winners awarded. There's ones where it's like elimination style, all sorts of stuff. So beginning over there, I did start a private league as well. Just $5. I figure we'll take it nice and easy, right? You want to come play some best ball against me? Get over and enter that. I've got to post it over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. So you can jump in there. As soon as it fills, it'll be a slow draft. And we can have fun between friends. I'll just keep doing those all until the season starts. So if you want to get in, if you want some bigger, we could do more than $5 too. Hit me up. I'm always game for that. But so many damn good things. Like if you're not an underdog, you truly are missing out. Also legal in a lot of states. So if you're not in a gambling state, underdog isn't gambling. It's fantasy, but it's a great, yeah, exactly. Rod's raising his hand. I'm in a somewhat legal state now. You got to go to the casino to place your bets, but yeah, we're getting there, right? But this, in California, you can play it, and it's not betting, but it's a lot of fantasy games that you can be played in lieu of that. So, yeah, it's a really great thing. Make sure you go sign up for it. So,
I'm even seeing surfing on here. You can pick surfing. There's surfing finishing positions in the Paris Olympics. That's fantastic. This is when you hit true DGen status. I'm about to write some
hell
surfing.
yeah. Let's go.
All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Next up for me, by the way, Ryan Sieg did make it for the end of practice. So Gregson started the practice session, but Sieg is getting a few laps in at the end of the practice here. Again, 50-minute practices for all three series. Trucks have 50. I think the trucks might even have 50 minutes, even though they're going to a track that they're used to. So there you go. But all right, Rod, moving on next, going over to the Cup Series. Look, I'm not pulling any strings here. I'm not getting fancy. Kyle Larson. I'm all aboard the Kyle Larson train this week. It doesn't happen very often. A lot of times his numbers aren't great as far as betting. Everybody's up his ass and all about him. He's tier 2 over on Dirty Mo this week. Come on, Rod. Are you kidding me? Kyle fucking Larson? What are we doing, fellas? 10,300. Look, I don't have to sell you on Kyle Larson. 94.6 points, 96.2 points. He can go minus 36 points on you too, right? It's always a big risk when you play Kyle Larson, but when Kyle Larson hits, I think that this is a good week. You're going to a track that he's familiar with because he's been there. Does IndyCar translate to NASCAR directly? Absolutely not. But the greatest race car driver in the world has been on this track all throughout the month of May for practices and rookie practices and qualifyings and fast 6 sessions and all sorts of shit. Then he raced in the Indy 500. He's got time on track that nobody else has. Denny Hamlin tested here and a couple other guys. I get it. But I think Kyle Larson's being slept on this weekend. Let's not forget, we're going to a track we haven't been to since 2020, and everybody's going to point back to, 4 of the last 5 times, he hasn't finished well. He didn't even race here in 2020 because he'd already been suspended at that point. Don't care. He's never been here in the 5 car. Hendrick should be good here. And it's Kyle fucking Larson, the greatest race car driver in the world. Don't overthink this. Give me Kyle Larson, 10,300.
Yeah, Kyle Larson is somebody that you pretty much have to roll out in most of your DFS lineups almost every week because there's that possibility for him to go out and lead every single lap and finish first. So, yeah, this is one of those weeks, like you said, just don't overthink it. Just put him in there, roll him out.
And reminder, too, we just got done talking about Xfinity could be super speedway style racing, blah, 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 all that. Not applicable for Cup Series. Completely different, regular intermediate package here. I wouldn't be talking about Kyle Larson if it was super speedway style racing. So I just want to make sure that don't forget, right? We got to look at all these races differently this weekend. The trucks are on the short track. Xfinity's in the super speedway package, and it's a regular intermediate race for the Cup Series.
Indeed, yeah. And speaking of that, Connor Daly jumping to the top of the charts for practice in Xfinity before the close of it. So you want to talk about super speedway craziness? I think that's what we're at on that one. And of course, go back and listen to the betting episode. There may be 1 or 2 sentences about Connor Daly in that one as well. All right, for my driver that I'm going to give you for the Cup Series, one Joseph Logano. Here's the thing about Joey Logano. He's led 80 laps around this track in his career. That actually represents the 3rd most led in this one, behind Kyle Busch and Denny Larson. Denny Larson.
Denny Larson. Can you imagine how good Denny Larson would be at driving? I mean, you combine those 2 guys. Wow, you're creating an elite NASCAR driver right there.
That's the creative driver when you're doing the NASCAR games where you're like,
you take all the good stuff from Denny, all the good stuff from Kyle, and merge them together. Like, oh yeah, buddy.
The attributes would be off the charts, be like 150. But Dennis Hamlin, yeah, that's who he's behind. And the thing about Joey Logano is that we know that we've seen him do increasingly well all over the place on these tracks. He's always the hardest guy to handicap we talk about, but we're talking fantasy here. So if we're talking fantasy, I think it's easier to put him in a fantasy roster than it is to try to pick a finishing position for him, because as I say, week in and week out, when you're dealing with fantasy points, 1 or 2 points could cost you a couple of $1,000 depending on the size of your entry. But you got a guy that's averaging about 31 points per race this season. And on this track in particular, he actually has led laps in the last 2 times that he's been out there. Like I said, 80 total, but he's led laps at least in the last couple of them. Finished second in 2019, 10th in 2020, but he did start on the pole in that one as well. He's got an average finishing position of 10th on this track. I do see him having a pretty solid day out here altogether. He did pretty good in Atlanta. I mean, if we're talking about big tracks that do things, finished second there. He did win Daytona. He did win in Las Vegas. So his couple of wins came there. He just won in Nashville. He finished 5th at Pocono, 6th at Iowa, 5th at Gateway. He's on kind of a good tear lately, right? Joey Logano's been turning in some good finishes as of late. So while he's hard to handicap because he's going to get you a 32nd in New Hampshire and a 23rd in the Chicago Street Course, but he's also going to get you, like I said, those 5ths, those wins, those 6ths, those 5ths. And really just for a DFS play, I think Joey Logano is stable lately. 45 points, 28 points, 77 points, minus 14, 45, 6, 47, 43, 115. There's a risk. There's a risk. And at $8,600, the DFS gods are giving you that risk built in there. But I think as far as guys that can go out and have a good finish, guys that can go out and lead some laps, $8,600 is a pretty good value for Joey Logano.
Yeah, it scares me how much I'm on Joey Logano this week, Rod. I've got more thoughts on him later, so I'll save those. But I completely agree with you. I love this play as well. Just to update you, Xfinity practice did just get over. The guy who drives the number 81 car was the fastest. We're not going to be saying his name for a while. Parker Kligerman, second fastest, mentioned on the betting episode. Connor Daly, third fastest. Maybe IndyCar does translate to this track route. How about that? Mentioned him on the pod. Brandon Jones, fourth fastest. Mentioned him on the pod as well. Jeb Burton, sixth fastest. We talked about him on the pod. Again, I would look less into Xfinity Series practice than anything else, but it feels good nonetheless.
Hey, listen, when we bring up all those names and all those names are some of the fastest cars out there, it definitely makes you feel a little bit good. Now, hopefully it translates for the rest of it, but yes. We'll see.
That's the key. Hopefully the finishing results look similar to that too, but
we'll see. We'll see how that one turns out. All right, we'll give you our last DFS play and load up on underdog plays. But first, let me tell you about Rhythm. The British Open is this week, and if you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, you're missing out. Not just outright winners, but they got picks for top 5s, top 10s, and top 20s. Use their AI caddy to get some great data insights. You can even customize your own golf betting model using Rhythm's tools. To go claim that 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, we each have one more DFS play to give you for the Cup Series. So, Cody, I will allow you to tell us why yours is better.
Yeah, hashtag Gilligang, baby. Todd Gilliland, 6,500. 6 points he scored for you last week at Pocono. Maybe that'll scare some people off. Doesn't scare me off. He got caught up in that Kyle Busch wreck, right? He was just innocent bystander. It happens. That's how things go. Prior to that, 9 straight top 17 finishes in a row for a guy at $6,500. Great day at Chicago. Great day at Nashville. Great day at New Hampshire. Great day at Iowa. Great day at Sonoma. Great day at Gateway. Great day at the Coke 600. Even had a good day at the All-Star race in the Open. Great day at Darlington. Great day at Kansas. Stop me when I stop saying great day, right? He has had great days every single week. 56, 41, 40, 33, 38, 47, 44, 43, 32, 36. Great DFS days from Todd Gilliland. And why is this going to stop anytime soon? I don't think that it is. We've seen massive gains from Ford, specifically Penske. Well, guess who Front Row's partnered with, right? They're a tier 1 partner or whatever now. Increased deal with Penske that they're getting information from. That's great. Todd Gilliland's the guy now, right? Sorry, Michael McDowell, you're not allowed to come in this meeting. Todd Gilliland's going to be in here by himself getting all the information for the team. He's our long-term guy. We've signed on long-term. he's the man. Todd Gilliland is a good race car driver. We've seen it from him. He continues to get it done. 6,500, way too cheap. He had a bad week last week because he got caught up in a wreck when he was 6,800, 68 the week before, 67 the week before. We dropped his price down to 65 for one bad week. Okay, sign me up. Give me some Todd Gilliland this week.
I love the Todd Gilliland love. I think 2 years ago we probably would have never had seen ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's crazy because it's gone both ways, right? He was one guy we loved in the Truck Series. And I'm trying to think how long. I guess this may be his third year in the Cup Series. So maybe we didn't so much do it on the pod, but like I used to love him in the Truck Series, bet him all the time because he was really good. But then he gets to the Cup and it was like he just kind of was always in the back, right? And you didn't get much from him. And then last year, like lost his ride for part of the season and he thought he was going to be done. And then all of a sudden this year it's been like 180 and he's still like he's had kind of built that name of not being that great. And so they're just sleeping on him. And yeah, I love it.
You know who people are sleeping on this week?
Oh, that's that might be an understatement, but yeah, they're definitely gonna be sleeping on this guy.
Nobody. No, I guarantee you.
Hey, does IndyCar translate to this track, Rod? That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know. I'm telling you right now that if there is one place that I'm going to play this guy, I'll be the only one. I'll be the only one in the entire tournament playing Jimmy Johnson. And that's okay because I know you guys hate Jimmy Johnson. I know you guys have forgotten how good of a driver Jimmy Johnson once was and how good of a driver he probably still is. However, we just haven't been able to see it out of Jimmy Johnson over the last couple of seasons. And it breaks my heart because I love watching that 84 car roll out there. I love watching him go out there. But lest we forget that he will step out onto this track as the active driver leading the wins. Kyle Busch has 2 wins on this track. I'm going to tell you more about Kyle Busch in a little bit. But Jimmy Johnson has 4 wins on this track in particular. That was a long time ago. That was in Chevrolets. That was in Hendrick Motorsports equipment. I understand each and everything about that argument. And I know that even if I make this argument, those of you who have shut your mind off to Jimmy Johnson will have you're already fast forwarding. So you don't even care what I say about this one for the next few minutes. But I'll tell you this right now. Jimmy Johnson has had 3 bad finishes on this track in a row. The last 3 times he was on this, right? 27th, 16th, and 35th. But before that, 3rd place. He had a 2nd place in 2013. He won. He won back-to-back in 2008 and 2009. The thing about it is this. Jimmy Johnson is $6,000. Okay? He is insanely cheap. And if you would like to try to fit folks in that are on the upper echelon of this, as in the Denny Larsons, right? And the Kyle Hamlins, those guys, if you want to fit those guys into the lineup, then you're going to need to be able to save money down there in that range. So $6,000 for a guy who, by the way, Cody, like you said, does IndyCar translate on this one? He's run the Indy 500 on this track, right? Now, granted, he didn't have very good finishes there either, but look, my heart bleeds for Jimmy Johnson. My heart knows that if I'm going to play Jimmy Johnson anywhere, it's going to be in DFS because he's likely not to hurt me in a top 10 bet, like he would in the top 10 bet or a top 5 bet or a top Toyota bet. Like, I get it. Jimmy, this is the only place in the world where I could play Jimmy Johnson and feel remotely good about it. It's going to come back to bite me. I am mentally prepared for that to happen. However, the upside of a guy that's had so much success on this track finally punching through. Cody, you can't think that every race that he ever takes from now until the time he actually does hang it up is going to be terrible, right? There's got to be at least one race in there that's a decent race for Jimmy Johnson. Dear God, let this be the race because this is the race I'm giving him out as. Maybe it's just because we're going on vacation after this and this, I don't have to hear about it.
You won't have to talk about it for a while.
Yeah. This is my out. I'm kind of letting it go, but yeah, Jimmy Johnson, $6,000. It's a GPP play that, like I said, may make you some money at the end of the day, or it may be one of those lineups where you're like, well, it was worth a shot.
You're getting the greatest driver in the history of NASCAR at $6,000, Rod. It's both sad and great at the same time because, like Texas, he starts in 37th, he finishes 29th, but he got you 21 points for a bottom feeder, $6,000 price. Like, that's not a bad day. This is the cheapest you've got him all season too, because he was 6,700 that week. So, and again, somewhat familiar with this track. He's run on it the last few years. He's still like, the thing is, there's 10 guys in the Cup Series that have never run on this track in the Cup Series. And so you've got guys like Kyle Larson, that's the greatest driver in the world. You've got guys like Jimmy Johnson that have had some experience in other cars, at least recently here. They've run on it before, obviously, as well in the Cup Series. Old cars, I get all that. It's been a while. But these guys should be able to adapt. And is Jimmy Johnson going to be super fast on Sunday? Probably not. But if we get some chaos, which we've seen, there's pit road accidents happening a lot here because it's so tight. We saw it last time we were here in the Cup Series. It was a massive wreck, took out a bunch of people. So you get things like that. If he can survive that and have a decent day, and honestly, a decent day for Jimmy Johnson is probably 25th, right? That's kind of where we're at these days. But if he can do that for you, starting in the back where he probably will start, hey, you'll take it.
I will, because I just, like I said, I want the camera to pan to 84. That's all I want. Show me the Carvana car every once in a while. I'm begging you, please, camera operators. All right. Well, then get out your pen and paper. I'm going to go over this DFS plays for you before we head over to the underdog side of the house. Cody gave you Ryan Sieg at $7,300 for the Xfinity race. I gave you coughing Daniel Dye at $7,200. Sorry, that was CrowdStrike getting into my lungs and causing a malfunction. But all right. And then Cody gave you Kyle Larson at $10,300 for his first Cup driver. I said Joey Logano at $8,600 would be mine. Then Cody gave you Todd Gilliland at $6,500. And I said Jimmy Johnson one more time, hit me, at $6,000 for my my final Cup driver in that one. So, all right, Cody, let's turn our attention to the Underdog Fantasy portion. If you are unfamiliar with Underdog Fantasy, welcome to Underdog Fantasy. Go sign up right now with our promo code RACESGPN. We want that bonus. We really do. So grab your friend's phone. And if they ask, why you grab it, just say, don't worry about it.
Up to $250, like, you're not getting a $5 bonus for signing up. Like, you can get a big bonus. And if you want a small bonus, you just want to try it out, throw $5 in there, throw $10 in there. Like, that's, as long as you sign with our promo code, helps us out. Even if you're a regular player, is it on your wife's phone? Does she have an account? You could help her make her picks, right? There's no rules there against that.
Nope, there's no collusion. No, we're good. It's everybody for themselves. But yeah, and then of course, as you get in there to start playing, especially for the racing, you'll get a finishing position, a projected finishing position for the driver, and then it's your job to pick whether or not that driver is going to finish better than or worse than the projected finishing position. As always, we will give you 3 of our favorite plays for this underdog pick slips, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun with it. Have 3 drivers that we've identified that we like their finishing positions better than or worse than. You can go with ours. You can pick all of ours, and then the pick 8, you can pick 2 of your own, or you can just pick a couple. It's like the buffet. We say, take what you want and leave what you don't like. So, all right, Cody, what do you like to start us out with?
Yeah, so starting over in the Xfinity Series race, Rod, Austin Hill, worse than 3.0. Rod, in the last 15 NASCAR Xfinity Series races, rather, how many times in 15 races do you think Austin Hill's finished in the top 3?
I'm going to go 1 because I think there's at least 1.
Bingo. Second place at Darlington. That is the only time. Now, if you go back and you look, he won Atlanta. He won Daytona to open the season. Super Speedway races, I get it, right? He's a massive favorite this weekend for a reason. But, Rod, 14th place at Talladega. So not every super speedway is he finishing up there. There's a couple of things here. First of all, if this turns into a super speedway style of race, you never want to take somebody better than 3.0 on a super speedway. I don't care if it's Dale Earnhardt himself, because they can get caught up in the wrecks. They can get caught up in the chaos. There's too many things that can go wrong. If this is a full-on super speedway race, he should be good. But again, the things that could go wrong. If it's not a full-on super speedway race, does that take away the advantage that he normally has on super speedways, right? Yeah, the Richard Childress cars are good and quick, but are they the best cars? Not really on a week-to-week basis. He's only got 1 top 3 finish in 15 races. So I just think there's too many things that can go wrong here. Will I be shocked if it's a drafting race and Austin Hill wins? No, of course not, because he's really good at it. But way too many things that can go wrong. This isn't, who are the only people that should ever be at 3.0 as their finishing position? Like Kyle Larson, maybe, but like so many times he doesn't finish that good, right? And Corey Heim, yeah, okay, and Christian Eckes because of how they're dominating the Truck Series. But like Denny Hamlin, even 3.0 is just, he's got to finish first or second place for this to hit for you. So and if he doesn't, you hit this if you go on the worst side then. So I'm going to fade the Austin Hill play here and go Austin Hill worse than 3.0.
Well, and they didn't really do us any favors by not giving us the half a position, right? I mean, that's really where it is. If they gave us the half a position, then you're like,
yeah, because even if he finishes third, you're still screwed if you're going better than. So he's got to finish first or second if you take the better than side. If he finishes anywhere else in the entire field, you hit this on the worst. It's just, it shouldn't be like that. And I think that it's a mistake having it be this low. So yeah, worse than 3.0 for Austin Hill.
I concur. All right. I am going to take Eric Almirola in this Xfinity race. Yes, Eric Almirola, not in the Cup race, but in the Xfinity race. His finishing position is actually set kind of low, in my opinion, 7.5 for Eric Almirola. So far this season, he has got 3 straight top 5 finishes in the last 3 races that he's been in this 20 car. He finished second at Richmond. He won at Martinsville, finished 5th at Darlington. Eric Almirola will once again be in that 20 car. He's coming back after getting his hand slapped. And he's going to be racing once again in that Joe Gibbs 20. Just alone, that Joe Gibbs 20 should not be at 7.5, right? I mean, the 20 car, we've seen everybody that drives that car essentially do good things on it, up to and including Eric Almirola. So for me, like I said, 7.5, he's probably going to have a top 5 finish like he's had in the last few races. And so that alone gets you there. I know Ryan Truex drove this one to a 19th place finish in the last race that was at, but Christopher Bell won at Loudon. John Hunter Nemechek came back and won at Nashville in this car. Truex has won at Dover. Almirola, like I said, won at Martinsville. John Hunter won at Las Vegas in this car. This car has been solidly inside the top 7 so many of these races. 3rd place at Austin for John Hunter. Richmond, Eric Almirola finished 2nd in this, like I had said before. 5th place for Almirola at Darlington. So yeah, I mean, this 20 car alone finishes inside of the top 7 more often than it doesn't. So give me that. And then, like I said, with Eric Almirola doing it the last 3 times he was in this car, this is almost a no-brainer. And on this track, you can't even really take much out of it, because the last time he was in this on this track in the Xfinity Series was back in 2015. He ran the 98 car and finished 14th. So, but he did start in 8th place. So, I don't know if you want to read anything into it, that's fine. But like I said, I think Eric Almirola is going to be good in that 20 car. Definitely a top 5 car, which puts him squarely in the better than 7.5 range.
Yeah. Not too many arguments on this. My only one comment would be, if you think this is going to be a super speedway style of race, might not be a bad idea to just go through and click a lot of worse thans and roll the super speedway dice. I do that a lot when we go to the traditional super speedways. But yeah, Eric Almirola should be really good here. Finally getting back in the car after his whole suspension deal. It'll kind of be interesting to see how that goes. But it's Eric Almirola. He's a veteran, and he's going to be in a really fucking fast car. I mean, there's no doubt about that. We already saw a JGR car at the top of the charts in practice. So, I don't have too many arguments. Shifting over to the Cup Series, Rod. Joey Logano, better than 9.5. Told you I'm on him this week, just like you are. Scares me a little bit, but he's been doing really well over the last 9 races. 5 top 5 finishes for Joey Logano, or top 6 finishes, I guess, because he finished 6th at Iowa. But they figured something out over there. He's had a couple of stinkers in there, but one was New Hampshire where he got crashed. One was Chicago Street Course, and one was Sonoma where he's not great on super speed or on road courses anyways. So you throw those out and things are looking really good. Ford's obviously found a lot of speed. We saw Blaney win last week. We saw Joey finish 5th last week after having a solid day. I just feel like this is the type of play. Again, you talk about somewhere we haven't been in a long time, somewhere where people are going to have to learn and adjust quickly. We got a 50-minute practice. Not too many guys in the field that can give better feedback during that practice than a guy like Joey Logano. Not too many people who adjust and adapt as quickly as Joey Logano. We talk all the time about, he's won all these races where we go to for the first time. Bristol Dirt when he's not a dirt guy, the LA Coliseum, all of these other things, the first championship in the new car, right? He wins all these new things because he's just really good and adjusting and adapting, here's a situation where we might need to adjust and adapt because we've not been here. The playbook isn't very thick or very deep because, yeah, we might have some notes from 2020. Are those going to do us a lot of good? Who knows, right? It's a completely different car. It's completely so. And oh, by the way, Roger Penske owns this track. So you think these guys want to do good at the Brickyard 400? Absolutely. Joey's already locked in with that win, right? Locked in. So yeah, I love Joey Logano this week, and all he's got to do is finish in the top 9 for you here. I think Joey Logano has a chance to win this race. So give me Joey Logano better than 9.5.
I have a new merch idea. We need to take this to the merch guy. Are you locked in to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast? That is our new shirt.
It's got to be in quotes. Locked in.
Locked in. Yes, it definitely. Are you locked in to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast? I love that. I want that merch idea. But yeah, I already talked about Joey Logano earlier. I definitely agree with you on this one. 9.5. Like that just seems very, very disrespectful. But we'll take it and we'll run with it. Speaking of disrespectful, how about Martin Truex Jr.? His finishing position is set at 8.5. That's disrespectful because he's not going to finish that high. There's no way Martin Truex Jr. is going to finish that high. Yes, he finished 8th at Pocono last week, but look at Pocono was a crazy race. I'm not even taking anything away from Pocono. I know that is a huge track. I know that there's a lot of speed that got carried, but before that, the last time he had a top a finish inside of the top 8 was 2 months ago, May 5th, when he finished 4th at Kansas. After that, 25th, 12th, 34th, 27th, 15th, 9th, 24th, 33rd. He backed his way into an 8th place finish at Pocono, but he should not have been an 8th place car. There was so much strategy going around and so much stuff happening around that end of that race that I don't know that 8th place was indicative of that. I know he started 3rd. So, right, he started 3rd. He was a fast car. Yeah, but not the rest of the day. So I'm going to give him that 8th place finish. But if that's what Underdog's looking at, then please take the worst then on this one. On this track in particular, his last 4 outings on this track have resulted in a crash, brakes, running crash. But 33rd, 40th, even when he was running 27th, that was in the 19 car, and then 38th the last time out. I'm not saying that Martin Truex Jr. is ready to retire, but you got to think Martin Truex Jr. is ready to retire. This track has been brutal to him over the last few times that he's been on it. That 19 team is not going to give up. However, I'm telling you right now, this is not a favorable track for him. This is actually not a favorable situation for him. He did finish 8th at Pocono. That's fantastic. That would have been the better than in this instance, but I'm going to take the law of averages, which the last, 5 or 6 races before that were not. I'm going to say he may be a top 10 car, but I don't think he's a top 8 car. So give me Martin Truex Jr. Give me the worse than 8.5 for him.
Yeah, he's only done, finished better than this once in the last 8 races. So it's not really been a good streak for him. Man, I don't know what to expect from Truex this week. I can't really get a beat on him. So I think if you're going to go away, it's got to be the worse than side because we've not really seen it from him lately. Yeah, JGR should be good here. They should be fast. Same last week. And then he led some laps and had some time up front, but he kind of fell off after the beginning of the race there, and you didn't see him as much. So, I think that the worst then is the way to go. Last one for me, Rod. Alex Bowman, better than 11.5. What are we doing here? Why is Alex Bowman set at 11.5? This makes no sense to me. First place 2 weeks ago at Chicago, locked himself into the playoffs, Rod. 3rd place last week at Pocono, the most comparable track we're going to. 12 top 10 finishes in 21 races this season. 3rd place at Pocono, 9th place at Charlotte, 7th place at Kansas, 8th place at Texas. He's run good on all the intermediates. It's Alex Bowman. He shows up. He finishes races. That's what he does. Now he's on a hot streak, 1st and 3rd the last 2 races. Things are going well. I stayed off of him last week because I was afraid of a hangover. Maybe he needs to be hungover more often because he ran good at Pocono yet again, right? So worked out well for him. I expect him to be very good again this weekend. I'm already in on his teammates in Elliott and Larson in different ways throughout the week. And I'm on Bowman. I gave out his top 10 earlier this week as well. 11.5. Now, he's only got to finish the top 11 for this one. Even better. Love Alex Bowman. Better than 11.5.
The 48 car. The memories in the 48 car. That 48 car tore it up around this track. So we're going to watch probably him do it again, just not with the same driver. I'm hoping the 84 has even a sliver of the luck that the 48 will have on this track. Maybe that car has memories and we'll bring Bowman back around for it. So love
Like
it.
when they say your car will just drive itself to work or whatever, so it knows the way.
It knows the way. It knows the way to victory lane. It's done it more times than any other active driver out there has done it. So, all right. I didn't want to pick on Kyle Busch. I didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it.
Oh, I was very sad you beat me to the dock for this because
Yeah.
this is an absolute hammer.
This is a hammer. Is it still 13? It is 13, right?
Yeah, 13.
Okay.
I think it's 13.5 is what I saw. Maybe.
Is it 13.5?
Or was it? Oh, maybe it was just 13.
I think it was just 13 because I wrote 13.
Yeah, well, I just
13.5.
got it a few minutes ago. It moved to 13.5.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Well, 13.5. There it is. So Kyle Busch is.
So that means others agree because it's moving in the correct direction.
It is the correct direction. Kyle Busch worse than 13.5. But first, allow me to read off some finishes from this track for Kyle Busch in the previous years. He had a 6th place finish in 2020, 37th in 2019, 8th, 34th. He won back-to-back in 2015 and 2016, 2nd, 10th, 8th. But that's not the Kyle Busch that we're seeing. That's the Kyle Busch from the 18 car. This is my reverse Jimmy Johnson argument, right? Where I'm saying to you that he's had all the success, but the thing of difference is between Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson is that Kyle Busch is still on the track each and every week trying to win races. His average finishing position this season, 19.4. It has been an absolute disaster of a few months. We talked about Darlington for Martin Truex Jr. Well, Kansas for Martin Truex Jr. being the last good race that he had. Same for Kyle Busch in a sense. Kansas 8th place since then. 27th at Darlington, 15th at Charlotte, 35th at Gateway, 12th at Sonoma, 35th at Iowa, 35th at Loudon, 27th at Nashville, 9th in Chicago, but that's the road course. That was a completely different circumstance. Don't care. 32nd at Pocono. He's crashed out. When Kyle Busch gives you the type of interview after he wrecks that, hey, I'm just glad everybody's okay. I'm just glad that we're all okay. Everybody's okay. I'm fine. He's literally the dog sitting at the table in the fire saying, this is fine. That's Kyle Busch right now. He's engulfed in flames. He doesn't even know he's being burnt right now. So for him to have a 13.5 finishing position projected on him, he hasn't done it in a very long time. That matters. You know what I'm saying? Like that 9th place at Chicago doesn't matter to me. And even Sonoma, the road course races don't matter. It's Kyle Busch, man. He's really hurting right now. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. Is Kyle Busch capable of having a good day? Is Kyle Busch capable of finishing better than this? Absolutely. One of the greatest drivers we've ever seen in NASCAR is Kyle Busch. They won 3 races last season. They've had some good cars lately, but nothing has gone their way. And I don't know, 50 minutes of practice should be really good for him. It should help him. But can anything help that team right now? Can anything help anything going on there? Until you see it, you can't. It's only 13.5 because he's been good at this track in the past, and people are looking back on that. It should. He was in a head-to-head match of our buddy Seth over at IBT had tweeted out there was a head-to-head match of him versus Alex Bowman at -115. Alex Bowman got steamed up. He's like -160 last I looked. Like just absolutely incredible because how good he's been here in the past does not matter, Rod. Look at what he's been doing here lately. And it's been rough. You got to fade Kyle Busch until things get better. Once things get better, I'd love to jump back on the train. But man, it's been rough for Busch lately.
Hey, we did it with Denny Hamlin a couple seasons ago where we just completely faded him through his slump. And then once he got back on it, we were back on him again, and it paid off, right? I mean, we're never actively hoping that drivers fail. We just know and see the tendencies that when they do.
Every once in a while, but
Cody wants to see
for the most part, not really.
we're not into watching you fail. I
don't think there's anybody I hate that much right now, so we're good.
I think you're good. Well, no, there is one guy, and we haven't been able to say his name. So he does drive the 81 car for.
Well, I want to see him do good because I got championship futures. I got over win totals on him. I just don't want to touch him right now.
not with a 5 foot pole. 10 foot, 5 foot. I don't care. Anyways, it's Friday. Cody, this will be my last recap for the
yes.
next week, and then we'll go away.
Actually, real quick update again, if you've not heard earlier this week, we will not have a recap show this week for these races. This week, we'll come back and do that later. But there will be a couple of shows next week. I think we did 2, so that's probably what you're going to get. 2 silly season updates. We kind of go through all the changes so far, all the maybe potential changes coming up. We talked about the Colchester thing before it's made official tomorrow and Saturday, but we'll have that conversation. So those will come out for you next week, and then that'll kind of be it for the week. The following week, though, we will come back and recap all the stuff from Indianapolis and then have a bunch of futures episodes for you, retouching on all of that stuff. And there's some good future stuff out there, season-long matchups to make the playoffs, make the Final Four, all that. So we'll go through those championship odds, of course, for all 3 series. So make sure you come back and join us for that. Otherwise, enjoy this weekend of racing and get your fill. So we'll have a couple of weeks off, and see you all guys later.
Yeah. So we're gonna reacquaint ourselves with our families over the course of this week, and just kind of catch our breaths and say hello to everybody that we haven't in the last couple of years, because it's been a couple of years since we've taken any substantial time off. So
that's actually true. So
yeah, it is. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're gonna go over the underdog plays for this Indianapolis races. Cody started you off with Austin Hill worse than 3.0 in the Xfinity race. I said Eric Almirola would finish better than 7.5 in this Xfinity race. And then in the Cup race, Cody said Joey Logano better than 9.5. I said Martin Truex worse than 8.5. Cody said Alex Bowman better than 11.5. And I said Kyle Busch worse than 13.5. Like Cody alluded to, we'll have a couple of episodes for you next week. They are in the can. So maybe I'll set them as a premiere so you guys can all chat along with it and have a good time with us. Even though we won't be answering you guys can still chat and talk about it. Maybe we'll pop on if they're around. I doubt it, but we'll figure that one out. So, all right, Cody. Well, as we step away for our much needed vacation, let everyone know where they can find you after you're done with yours out there in the real world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff there. I'll still have some stuff that's going to come out that's been put in the can throughout the week. So make sure you check all that out. And then follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. We did get our Facebook follower number to the correct amount. So next time we live stream, we'll be able to go over there. So thanks to you guys. We appreciate it. Keep going over there and liking that page, helping us grow there as well. And Underdog, I'm telling you, man, go sign up. If you are listening to this show, you will not regret signing up for Underdog. Throw $5-10 in there to start if that's what you want to do. Go have a little fun. It is a blast. You're going to want to do it. So promo code RACESGPN. See you guys later on.
Indeed. Yes. Thank you, Dalton, for helping us get to Facebook streaming status, and we love that. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's I'm going to be actually joining the guys back again at IBT, In Between Media, for shows next week. So keep an eye on that. Go check out the Arena Football League stuff that's going on. There'll still be a recap after that, but yeah, tons of great stuff coming out next week for me as well. So keep up there. So, all right, guys, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And until then, let's go racing. Cody Zari, 3 sheets to the win, and let it ride.